Hello and welcome to the Code World. In this video series, we are studying to create project on library management system. In this specific video, this is the third video of this series. In this video, we are going to add new books in the library. So in previous video, we have defined registration.c, and in the previous video, we have defined index.c. In this video, we are going to discuss about add new.c. In this function, we are creating a file and a structure to save our book data in file. So let's start our video. In this video, again we will create a structure, and in that structure, let's that the structure name is struct. Sorry, the structure name is book. And now we are going to store some value related to book. Like, just suppose that book is a container, and in that container we are going to store some values like title, author name, publication, availability, and its price, and one more thing, its ID. So here we are we are storing the value of author of the book, title, and publication, one more, publication, availability, and price, and book ID, So in this we are creating a structure that is a user defined data type named book, and in that we are storing some values like author, title, publication, availability, price, and book ID. These all are member of our structure. These all are member of our structure, and book is here our structure. So let's start creating our structure. First of all, we are defining our structure. So start with a struct keyword. It will show that this is a user defined data type, and the data type name will be book. And here start creating our structure. Here start. First of all, character type, title. The length of title must not be less than 30. Sorry, must not be greater than 30. And author, its length will be 30. And publication, this is also of char type, and its length should be not greater than 50. Then its availability, one more thing, its price. So let's plot the price. And one more thing which will be generated by the system every time uniquely, that is its ID character, its ID. It will be generated by the system, not inputted by the user. Let's character length must be 15. Now our data structure is created successfully. Now our data type is created, which name is book. But now this is not like allocating it memory. So to allocate memory, we have to create a variable of type book. So now we are creating a variable which book, but since our data type book is not system defined data type, we have defined it manually, so we have to put a struct keyword before our before the name of variable. So struct book id. Now our variable name is id and data type is book. Now it is successfully created memory. So now we can work with this data type. Now again we are defining our function, sorry, our variable fp of type file. We are creating our file type variable name fp to work with file. So now let's assign a value to fp. fp assign f open, and f open value should be first the text file. We don't have any text file to store book, so now create a text file like book record.txt, and I start it in append mode so that it will create it. If the text file is not yet, so it will create the book record type text, and then append value we will enter in that. Now let's check that our file is opening properly or not. To check that if our file is opening properly, then its memory address will be assigned to fp. If not, then fp will assign to null by default. So let's check that fp value. If fp is equal to null, it means our file is not created successfully. So simply print that printf file is not created. And then, and one more thing, if the file is not created, then no need to go within the code, so directly go to end. And here end is a label, but we don't have defined the label named end till now. So now we are defining end. To define end, we have two options: to define it for the whole code, or to define it when fp is equal to null. So if we define with the whole code, then it will run every time, but if we define in that code only, then it will be run if and only if this condition is true. So here we are defining that if fp equal to null, then we are defining here null, sorry, we are defining here and print that going back to main page or main function. Now save it, and now we are going to create our main functions here. Now take inputs from user. To take input from user, we are defining here a printf and print a value that enter number of books you want to store, and store and store its value in scanf. Store its value in let's say n. Yes, the address of n, but we don't have created n type of variable, so let's create it first and then we can do anything. And one more thing, I have defined here I to work with for loop. Now we are creating a for loop from I equal to 0 to I less than n, and every time the loop will increase its value by 1. Now we are defining our code here. First of all, here we have to print that enter author name here, and store it in puts our data type. Our data type is book and the variable name is bk. Then store it in bk dot author. Sorry, not puts, it must be gets. And like that we are storing more things. Just copy it and paste with the other name, like not author name. We have to define here our title, or yes, title, or tle. Let's put it in here and cut it and paste here to run. First of all, we will enter the title, then author name, then again we are going to enter the publication of book, publication here. And here also we have to change li. And again we have two more thing. It's availability and price, because these two are in integer and float, so we will use here scanf instead of gets. So here we are defining that printf enter price here, and scanf in scanf %d. Sorry, price is float type, so %f, and here price. And again we are defining here available. Availability here, so we are defining its availability and store it in available. So here we are storing, so sorry, bk dot, and here also bk dot available. And here define %d. Now our data is stored in these variables. That means our data is stored in structure. Now we have to store it in our file. To store it in file, we have one function named fprintf, and here we are defining file pointer first of all, then the type of variable which we are going to assign. So let's assign, this is a string type variable, so we are defining %f, and we are want one tab gap, so we are defining a \t, and then the the name of variable, that is bk dot title. Similarly, we copy this and paste here with something change here, author, and here we are changing its publication, and here we are defining. But one more thing, this is price and the value of price is in float, so we are storing it in float type variable. But if we will store it in f directly, then it will take 6 digit after the point. So to take only 2 digit, we are defining here point 2. It will store two values after point. Now here we are defining its availability, and here it's this is a variable, sorry, this is a integer type, so we are defining %d, and here available. Now let's check that our file is working properly or not. Here we have opened a file, but we don't have close it, so we have to close it before the function end. So here we are closing fclose fp. Now just start execution. Here we are going to compile it. Here is some error. Yes, that too. It is the error that we don't have include the extension. We have to now it will be work properly. One more thing, here this is one extra, so now run it. Yes, it is compiled successfully. I have told you that if we have to run that program, so we have to only build it and run with the extension index.c. From here we can execute our program. So run from here. What is the output here? To add new books, we have to put 4. Let's input is 4. Now number of books, let's say 2. Enter the title here, but here is no gap. We have bug again in the code. Now we are going to resolve that problem. From here add new, and here we are defining a bug with any length like 3, and we have to put here before this, and we are putting here gets bug, sorry, not bug, bk.bug, bk.bug. Now our program will run. Just build it and run from index. Now we are inputting 4 to register new book, and number of books, that is 2 books. Enter title. Let's say our book title is deep with, sorry, pointer with deep, pointer in deep, and author name is ss bala Subramaniam. The publication Bharti Bhavan, and the price is, let's say, 356, and the availability is 67, and we have a store here 2. It means it will be containing 2 books at a time. So now we are going to define title here. Now let's say that the title is Programming with C, programming in C, and author name is Lalit Bhardwaj, and publication is Student Friend, and the price is 980. Now its availability is 12. Here we have successfully stored that value. Now from exit to exit, press 0, and our data is successfully saved. To see this, we have to go in that position and search for that file. Our file name is here. From here, our file name is bookrecord.txt. So here we are searching book record. Now open it here, but we don't have any tab here, sorry, any next line here. We will define it here directly, but we will execute it in code. Here we are going to put heading for that, that is title, and here author, and publication available, sorry, price here is, this is price, and then available. And one more thing, we are going to decide its book id. It will be created by us. So here now we are defining here a backslash n to store it in with the next line. Here we have to start from here backslash n. And one more thing, we are defining here these type of symbols, and copy it and paste in every line. This is because of that we want a gap in predefined word and our inputted word. So now let's again run. Sorry, before running, we are going to create a book id. For that, to create book id, we are going to again call a random variable, sorry, random name function. Now we are starting a random function. First of all, as rand with time, it means it will be increase or decrease its value with the time, and one variable name a and random value it will store. Because this is a integer type, it will store value in integer. To convert it in string, we have one function to convert it, and the value of variable, and then to store in which we are storing it, that bk.id, and what is the decimal, what is the its extension, decimal point 10, and then again fprintf the file name fp, and here %s to store string, and then bk.id. But we don't have 8, so we are defining here one a, and then again we are come back to our code here, and here we are going to print that your book is successfully stored in the memory. Printf your book is stored in the file. Okay, and here, sorry, and now it will be print in the next line. Now our code is completed. So to To check it, first build it and run from index.c. From here we are storing some values, input, book, and then input here 1 and title. Here let's say data structure, and author name is R Balaji, and its publication is Bharti Bhavan, and the price let's say 430, and the availability is 30. Here this message that your book is successfully stored. Now we are checking that our book is stored or not. Here we are going to run it. Here this is title, and this is author name, this is publication, this is price, this is availability, and this is a book ID which is automatically created by random number. So if you like this video, then like it and subscribe my channel.